I'm here with Kendra Lynn Keller. We had her mom, Sheena, on the show. We're going to get some insights on having siblings on the autism spectrum. So without further ado, Kendra Lynn, thank you for coming. Welcome to the show. How old are you?
I'm 14.
14. All right. Tell me about your brothers. You got Jameson and Whitley. They're 8 and 6. Tell me about them.
Well, Jameson, he is obviously on the spectrum. He has autism, obviously. He is, he's pretty sweet when he wants to be. Um, there has been times where, um, he's like kicked me, hit me. He threw a Coke can at my head one time.
Gosh, full of
Yeah,
Coke?
yeah. Just
Ooh.
like, it was like, and it was full. It was like a full can of Coca-Cola, and I don't remember if he like couldn't have it because my little brother and my little sister are both on diets because they get like stem cells and I forgot what it is. It's like ozone injections or something like that. So they have to be on a special diet for that. So I think it was when he was like when we were starting his diet, or maybe it was before that. But he couldn't have it, and my mom was like, "Don't let him have that," and I was like, "Okay." And then he got mad and threw it at my head. So yeah, there's that. But he's super sweet. He's definitely, you know, improved a lot more than how he was before. And it's pretty cool to watch that.
Yeah.
My little sister, like me, I can't even explain the type of like connection that we have. She's so like, she's not as, I don't even, it's like she's higher on the spectrum. So she's like more functioning than
Yeah.
my brother is. But,
I don't know why I said brothers.
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Brother and sister.
I have siblings on my mom's side and my dad's side. I have 3 siblings on my dad's side and 2 on my
Okay.
mom's. So a lot of siblings. But my little sister, she's very like, if I'm like, oh, can I have a hug? She'll give me a hug. Or like if, I'm like upstairs and I'm on the couch, she'll sit with me. Like we laugh a lot together. She's definitely very more like people person than my brother is. Like
Okay.
if we have people over at the house for like Thanksgiving or like some sort of holiday, Jameson kind of just like he'll stay upstairs, but if he gets like too overstimulated, he'll just go downstairs. And
Uh-huh.
then it's like we just leave him because we don't want to make him like super anxious or anything. But my sister's definitely more of like she interacts more than my brother does.
Yeah.
So that's how they are.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did you notice there was something different with them?
I was pretty young when my brother was born. I was like 6 or 7.
Right.
So, like, I didn't really understand much. So, like, I mean, I kind of like thought something was going on when he wasn't talking.
Yeah.
I feel like that was definitely like the biggest sign for me. I was like, well, why isn't he talking? Because, like, I have little cousins and they all like talked, like, young. And when my brother just like never talked, I was like, why doesn't he talk? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? And my mom, like, she didn't really tell me until I was old enough to understand, which, like, I wouldn't have understood when I was younger because I'd just be like, okay, well, I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? Like, I'd just,
Right.
like, she could tell me and I'd be like, okay. But, like, I feel like I wouldn't have understood as much as I did because she waited to tell me for when I was, older and I understood. But then, like, once she told me, it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And my sister, she's definitely more verbal than my brother. But I mean, hers was just like, I feel like the same signs that my brother had with like
Uh,
the hand stuff and, you know, things like that. So, I mean, and then we just got her once we like seen, once my mom and my stepdad seen signs of it, they just went and got her tested.
Yeah.
So there was that. But my brother was definitely more like, what's going on? Because I was obviously younger when he was born, so I was like, why isn't he talking? Like, why does he like throw fits if he can't have something all the time? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was like that was
I mean, you were young. Was it hard to see, or like what were your thoughts around it? Were you just kind of confused?
yeah.
Or
I was confused. Because that was like the main like him not talking was like the
yeah.
main thing I was so like lost about because my little cousins, like, they would always, like, they were talking. Like, my uncle, like, I think their littlest is, like, 2 or 3. I don't very, very young. But, I mean, like,
Yeah.
he talks, and it's the same way with my cousins. They have 2 sons, and,
Yeah.
like, they talk too. So then, like, when I was little, I was like, "Well, okay, like, why doesn't he talk?" Like, I was so confused, and I was like, "It just doesn't make any sense. Like, he should be talking. Like,
Right.
why not?" Because, like, I mean, I was so young, I didn't really have, like, a lot of, like, thoughts about it. I was just like, I mean, I don't know. Like, when I was, my age, what I was when my brother was born, I was like, well, I don't really understand little kids, but, like, he is not talking. There's something, there has to be something going on. I didn't know if he was, like, just delayed or, like, what it was. And then my mom was like, oh, well, he has autism. And then she explained to me what it was. And I was like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense now. I
Uh-huh.
was like, I understand it now, but I was very confused. Like, why isn't he talking?
Yeah. What was the vibe like? Do you remember, like, around the house? Was it stressful with your parents, like, because they were trying to figure things out, obviously,
Yeah,
I imagine, and then you were there, so what was the balance with that?
it was definitely like they, like, before my brother obviously got tested for it. And, like, in my mom's episode, she kind of talked about how, like, the doctor just kind of, like, dropped a bomb on them, be like, hey, you might have autism, like,
Yeah.
get him tested. And I do remember my mom saying that they had, like, a wait listing for, or, like, they had
Right.
to, like, go on a list to get tested. And I was like, oh. But I feel like it was a little stressful because, like, obviously I didn't understand, but my mom and my stepdad were also like, well, obviously there's something up, you know what I mean? Because they would obviously know more than I would. So I feel like from them, it was just kind of like, well, what's going on? Like, what's going on with our son? And for me, it was just kind of like I said, like, why isn't my brother talking? Like, it was, I feel like it was stressful for them, but since I didn't really understand, I was just kind of like, whoa, like, I didn't know really what to, like, feel or, like, say, but I could definitely
Uh-huh.
tell it, like, stressed my parents out quite a bit. They were like,
Yeah.
what's going on with my son? Like, is he just not hitting milestones, or, like, does he have something? So, I mean, that was there for them, but I was so young, I was just like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, but, we'll figure it out.
How about nowadays, now that you're 14, freshman, wise beyond your years, how have your thoughts changed?
They've changed a lot. I feel like my brother still has, like, his fair share of, like, temper tantrums, and I'm not, like, I'll admit it right now, I'm not a very patient person. Like, I get kind of irritated, not, like, fast, but, like, I get irritated. And so, like, if he's, like, screaming and crying, and then like, what they used to do is if my brother would cry, my sister would cry. And if my sister was crying, my brother was crying. It was so, like, over, like, I don't even, it was bad. I was like, okay, why is everybody screaming? Like, so, like, I mean, I'm not, like, I feel like over time I have gotten more patient with them just because, like, the more I, like, research it or, like, listen to what my mom knows, I feel like the more I do that, it's like, I feel like, okay, well, this is, how, like, what they're doing, and this is how I can help to, like, fix that. And they have their ABA therapist. I love that woman to death. She's so sweet, and she's so good with my brother and my sister. She's like, she's kind of showed me things to do to, like, calm her down, and or calm them down, and so is my mom. My sister, she is definitely super irritable. Like, I could sometimes, if she's not in the mood, I could just sit by her and she'd, like, scream and then run away. I'm like, okay. So that's awkward. I was like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like things that they do. It's like, oh, well, how can I help now that I understand? Like, what, like, what can I do about this? What is there anything I can do? And, like, ask my mom, like, do you need help with anything? Like, it's definitely something that I've had to kind of figure out. But my mom has been super helpful with me in that aspect, and So is our ABA therapist. I don't know if am I allowed to say names? Like, I don't know, but she's great. I love her. She's so good with them, and she's kind of showed me how to help my mom out with them, and all that. So I feel
Yeah.
like the older I get, the more I understand and the more patience I kind of have with them. I'm not like, oh my God, like, shut up. I'm not
Right.
like, I understand, like, when they're frustrated, it's like they can't, obviously, especially with my brother, he can't, like, I put myself in his shoes. I'm like, if I was frustrated about something and I couldn't use my words to tell that, I would be screaming. Like,
Yeah.
no doubt about that. So I feel like I just kind of put myself in his shoes and be like, okay, obviously, like, I am 14, so like I don't really like children screaming all the time, but I have gotten a lot better with it, especially with my brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a huge realization, just putting yourself in their shoes. I'm reading a book right now about a kid with autism who's learned how to communicate with a letterboard, and for all of his life, everybody wrote him off like he didn't know what was going on in his head, and he was completely cognitive in there and has thoughts and feelings and everything. And as soon as he started to be able to communicate with that letterboard, he just saying the most craziest things like, I'm stuck in a silent prison. People don't understand. I know what's going on. And there's just so many testimonials like that. But the fact that you're able to put yourself in their shoes, I think, is like what everybody needs to do, especially around this population, and not underestimate them because yeah.
I
The
mean,
book is
someone wrote,
actually called Underestimated. Great
oh,
read.
really?
Yeah.
That, I kind of want to read that now, actually.
Yeah. It'll definitely give you a different perspective
hmm
into
I
that.
feel like my perspective has changed a lot with my
Yeah.
brother and sister. Like, even just like in life, and like, even because obviously, like, in my school, there is other kids with special needs. And so, like, if I see someone like making fun of them, I will either cry or I will get so mad because it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, like, you think they're just like some weird kids, but like they're human. Like, just
Totally.
because they have something wrong with them does not make them any less human than me or you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like that's definitely changed my perspective a lot. And seeing how cruel kids can be, like, hello, it's so sad. Every
Yeah.
time I see it, I just cry. I'm like,
And the fact that when they are mean like that and they say things, they don't think that whoever they're making fun of hears them or understands them, but they
yeah,
totally hear it.
I know, and that is just like it breaks my heart. Like, anytime I'm at school, because like there's quite a bit of kids in my school with special needs, whether it be like they're disabled, like they have to, those, like, I don't even know how to, like, what they're called, but it's like the electrical chairs, like the ones that, not like that kind of electrical chair,
Yeah,
like
I'm like, what?
move
Where
around.
are you going to school? Oh, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like you like control them on the
Like
side.
in a grocery store.
Yeah, yeah, like that kind of electrical chair. Like, whether it be that or like kids with autism or Down syndrome, and like kids will say the meanest things, and I'm like, you are cruel, and
Hmm.
now I will never like you. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't understand why kids are so mean. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just because they don't understand, but it's like you're in high school. Like, grow up. You know what I mean? Like, they are still human beings. They are not different from us. So it's like, it's sad. And it changed
Yeah.
my perspective a lot, seeing how kids treat other kids with special needs. And that was definitely something, like, a fear that I still have with my brother getting older. And he's obviously in a public school. That is like a big fear of mine, of him getting bullied.
Yeah.
Because like I'm very protective of him when it comes to that aspect. So that's definitely a really big fear of mine.
Yeah. How is it difficult to like have a relationship with your brother and sister, or you got to work a little harder at it?
Yeah, I mean, with my brother, it kind of is because obviously, like, he is nonverbal, so it's like it's kind of hard to like build a connection in like the sense of like speaking with him. But
Right.
I feel like being like in his presence, I guess, is like, and him knowing like I'm there, obviously, because like he can like see me, and like he definitely sees me when he like hits me and stuff if he's angry with me. But he like I mean I feel like that's just enough. And like I mean like living because I live with my mom most of the time because my parents are not together, but I am with my mom most of the time. I go to my dad's every other weekend, so I'm here every week, like all the time. So I feel like just like being here, that's like, built a connection. And with my sister, she's more of a repeater, but she's still like verbal. And
Huh?
she's very like, my brother is like, do not touch me, like, keep your distance. And like, I mean, if he's in like a sweet mood where he like wants to be hugged and stuff like that, then it's like, oh, like, give me a hug. But like, he's not always like that. So then he's like, sometimes he's just like, get away from me. Like, I want my space. I'm like, okay. Obviously, he doesn't say that to me, but like, if he like mean mugs me or
He tells you.
like that, he'll tell me. He'll be like, and then like he'll give me that like type of like stang face. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And I'll just leave him alone. But like my sister, she's very like, if I'm like, can I have a hug? Sometimes she'll run away from me and scream, and then I'll be like, give me a hug, and then she'll give me a hug. Or other times she'll like give me the biggest hug in the world and like climb up me like I'm like a tree or something. And then
Yeah.
she'll like want me to like spin with her, and I'm like, yeah. So it's definitely easier to make a connection with my sister, but me and my brother still have one. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship for him. Like I love him, but
Yeah.
he doesn't know about me. He's like, I don't know.
It's like it's on his terms a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It's whatever
Uh,
he's feeling that day.
well, he's young. He'll
Yeah,
he'll grow into it.
yeah.
What? How about when you have friends over? Like, what do they say? Or is that vibe weird or different? Like, do you have to explain things to them, or
I
they're just
I mean,
like,
I don't
yeah,
have to. I just do. I'm like, hey, like by the way, like if you like hear my brother like crying about something and like not stop for a little bit, I'm like he
he's
does have
fine.
autism. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine, I promise. Like nothing is going on that anyone should be concerned about. Like he's okay. He just probably could not have the remote to the TV. But it's very like I just like if I'm like close with the person, like and they haven't been to my house before, like if I hang out
Yeah.
with them every single day at school, it was kind of like and I'll just say names, it's fine. My friend Aubrey, the first time she came over on Halloween, I was like, I'm just warning you now. I was like, my brother does have autism, so does my little sister. So if he like doesn't talk to you when you say hi, I'm like, that is why. He's not being mean. I was like, I promise. But I mean, I feel like if like my friends do ask about it, like obviously I will tell them, and they'll be like, oh, like how is that or like whatever, and I'll like explain it to them. But I feel like it definitely is like kind of like I wouldn't say like humbling in a way, but they're like this is like this is how it is with someone who lives in a house with like a kid with special needs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like they definitely see that. And my friends, like all my friends that I brought in over, like my friend Madison, I've been friends with her since third grade. My mom, like my whole family absolutely loves her. And I mean, she's so helpful with my brother and sister. Like we don't like hang out all the time anymore, but like we have been friends since third grade. Like that's a decently long time for a
Yeah.
friendship. So I mean, like I'll always love her, and she's so good with my brother and sister. Like my friend Aubrey, she's sweet to them. I feel like she's just kind of like a little bit more shy.
Yeah.
So, but like she understood. She was like, yeah, no, like that's fine. Like they don't really care. Like it doesn't make the vibe change or anything, or it doesn't make anything awkward or them not want to be here. It's just kind of like I'm warning you, like if you talk to them and they don't talk to you back, I was like, I promise they're not being mean. I was like, they just don't, like they barely talk to me and I'm their
Yeah.
sister, like it's okay.
And my kids do the same thing. Like, yeah, that we're working on it.
Yeah, that's kind of what we are too.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean that's some good friends to have. I would imagine if you brought someone and they were weird about it, probably they wouldn't be your friend.
No, no, if they like were to say something about one of my siblings, I'd be like, get out, like
Yeah,
get out of my room, get out of my house,
you're
get off
done.
my property. Like I don't know, I don't like I mean no one's ever like looked at my siblings in like what the heck kind of way, but it's like whether I don't care if it's like a stranger or is one of my friends. Like if someone even like looks the wrong way at one of my siblings, I'm like, okay, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like this is my like these are my little siblings. Like it's more like that with friends, but I mean my friends are like judgmental whatsoever. Like they're like, oh, okay, like, that's cool. Like
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. So it's been pretty normal with them. And they definitely they're like I said, they're not judgy about it. They don't make the hangouts weird or awkward or be like, oh, like why is he doing? Because like my room is right below the living room because my room is downstairs, so you can hear absolutely everything from upstairs. So if my brother's like jumping on his like little like bouncy ball
Yeah.
on the ground and we can hear it from upstairs, no one says anything because
It's
it's like, oh,
just,
like that's just my brother. Like if they've
yeah.
never been here before, then they might be like, what is that? And I'd be like, it's just my brother, jumping on his little ball thing. They're like, oh, okay. Like
Right.
I mean, I feel like the people in my life aren't like judgmental about it. Like all my friends understand, my boyfriend understands. So it's like nobody, I mean, like obviously my family understands too. It's like no one is like, oh, like that's weird. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everyone everyone knows about kids with autism. It's like it's not people think it's like so uncommon. I feel like people are like, what? Like your brother and sister have autism? I'm like, yeah,
Right.
it's
It's
pretty
pretty,
it's sadly pretty common. Like,
I
you know what I
know.
mean? It's like
Yeah. Have you always just been able to embrace it, or did you ever go through a time where you like fought it and were like, I don't want this,
I
or
mean,
is you've always just it is what it is.
yeah. I mean,
That's cool.
that's definitely how my mindset has been. That's literally it is what it is. That's like my dad saying to everything. Like if I tell him anything that's like bad, he'll be like, "Well, like," and he'll, give me advice if I need it, or like he'll, just like we'll talk about it, and he'll be like, "But just remember, like it is what it is." Like that's, and I could definitely kind of like live by that because like if I have an inconvenience in my life, it's just like if it happens, it happens. Like whatever. But
Yeah.
it's like with my siblings, it's like I never like I was too young to really like fight it. I feel like I didn't really like it bothered me a little bit when I found out, but before that, it was just like I didn't know
Yeah.
really. And so, I mean, even now it's just like, well, I can help in any way I can, but like I can't change it. My mom can't change it. My stepdad can't change it. Nobody can change it. Like it's not like it's changeable. Like autism is genetic and it's like it's a disease. Isn't it a disease technically? It's considered a disease kind of
Yeah.
genetic. So it's
Depends
like
on who you ask.
yeah, yeah. It's so and I mean it's not like there's a cure for it. Like as of right now there isn't. Things could change, but I mean, I feel like if it's, nothing I have control over, then it's like I can't control that. So it's like I'll just help in any way I can but I never really fought it. It was just always kind of like, okay, I'll help the best I can, but I never really was like, why
Yeah.
is this happening? Like, why? That I mean, like I said, I was still pretty young, but like even now that I'm older, I don't fight it.
Yeah. That's cool. How about what's your level of support like with them at home, and you take them to school? Oh, I guess you don't drive yet.
Well, their school schedules are very different, so I feel like and high school starts at 7:30 in the morning.
That's pretty early.
Yeah,
I always wondered about that.
yeah, it's not great. And I mean, elementary school is at like what 8:30. So
More reasonable.
I wouldn't even be able to take them to school. If I could, I would. I'm hoping to start driver's ed in the springs. And I was
Okay.
actually talking to my mom about that. I was like, when I get my license, like, can I go like take Jameson or Whitley for like ice cream or something? And she's like,
That's cool.
once you have experience. I'm like, darn it.
Yeah. Yeah. How about what's the most difficult thing of having siblings with autism?
I feel like now it's like before it was going out in public because
Uh,
they were not. My dog is howling. Before it was like we couldn't really. Okay, I'm so sorry. My dog is like howling.
Oh, we
I don't know
can
why
we
she does
can
that.
edit it out. Nothing.
I feel like when like before it was very hard to take them in public because they would like my brother would have like a meltdown or something, or like if we go somewhere he wouldn't want to leave, and so that was definitely difficult, but like they're so much better about it now. Like during the summer, if we go to like the splash pad or like the park for ABA, they won't really fight leaving. So like before it was going on public, but now I think like as I'm older and I understand it more, obviously, I feel like it's seeing them go through like all the different therapies and doing like the stem cell injections because from the looks of it, those things hurt.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm just not a needle person whatsoever. Like, I don't, I mean, unless it's like my matching tattoo with my dad, I don't think I'll be getting any more of those. Things could change. I don't like shots. So I feel like I would not be a tattoo needle person. I see though, like if I see them get those injections, I'm like, ow. And it makes me feel so bad for them because they're just like crying because obviously it would hurt, but it's like it has helped them so much. I feel like that's just like been the hardest part is like seeing them have to do a bunch of therapies, and like they still live a normal life, but it's like I mean like people like me and you, like we wouldn't have to go do that, but like my
Right.
little siblings do, and like I feel like that just kind of breaks my heart a little bit. But I also know that it's helping them, but it's just like just seeing them have to do that to be able to, you know, like but because like they have like speech therapy and all that, and so like it's like they have to go through all of that just to like help them talk, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like obviously like it helps them, so it's like heck yeah, but it's also like those are like my little siblings and they have to do that almost every single day, so it's
Yeah.
like it kind of sucks to see that, but I also know that it's helping them, so at the same time it's like it's not a bad thing whatsoever. It's just like hard to see them have to go through all that just because of their disability.
Yeah. I mean, that's. Tell me about Jameson because I know he's made a lot of headway with that stem
He,
cell and getting
yeah,
some speech.
yeah, I mean, there be definitely with speech, he's definitely gotten so much better. He still isn't super verbal, but before we got those stem cells, he was like, did it like he just kind of like blabbled and whatever. But like now, if like he wants something, we'll like say like please, and he'll be like please, and then we'll give it to him, or like we'll have him say thank you before, like please and thank you before, and then give him what he's wanting. Because
Yeah.
once he gets what he wants, he's like out. Like he'll go back to watching TV, or he'll go back downstairs, like he's gone. So we just have him say please and thank you before, and like he is more like I wouldn't say like more well behaved, like he is, but like not necessarily at home, but like yes, at home, but like that was never really an issue. Him having misbehaviors at home, because like he's obviously the most comfortable here, but that was an issue, like going out and doing things. And he's gotten so much better with doing just that. He doesn't have like a whole lot of meltdowns anymore. Obviously, there is still like time to time where he will, whether that be before going to school, if he's had just like a rough morning, or just like things like that. But I mean, other than that, like he's grown so much, just that stuff, and he's just like I feel like he's just more calm and he's not like on edge all the time.
Yeah.
And it's I mean like even with like me and my parents, it's like he doesn't have a lot of tantrums anymore. So it's like it's very like calming to us too, I feel. Well, at least for me. I mean, I assume that's how it is for my parents too. It's because like I mean, they're not like screaming and crying about everything anymore, so I feel like that's definitely been like a relief for them and for me cuz I'm not a huge fan of listening to kids scream all the time.
Yeah.
So, but it's not even that. It's literally just like seeing how much my brother has improved over the years. It's like crazy. And I mean, all the like the therapies and those stem cells. I feel like the stem cells is what really, really helped him.
It's
Like
the thing.
after we got him the stem cells for the first time, it was just like, it was just great from there. obviously it's still like ups and downs with autism, but I mean, he just like overall he's gotten so much better, and it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, that's got to be amazing just to see the little progress day by day. How, now that you're older and you can take it all in, how do you experience your parents through all this?
I definitely see how it's stressful on my mom and my stepdad, but my stepdad also works during the day.
Yeah,
And my mom, she also works. She works for, I'm pretty sure she said this in her episode, but I'll just say it again. She's
yeah,
a realtor and she works for Porter, which is the company that my stepdad works for too, the construction
okay,
company. So she does both of that, and I mean, like if she needs to go show a house or something, then she schedules it very well. But I feel like it's still even now just like kind of stressful on her with all the therapies and stuff, and like if I need to go to like the doctor or like the dentist or like have some sort of appointment, I feel like she balances that very well.
okay,
She's really good at it. But I feel like at first it was pretty stressful for them, but as like Jameson has gotten better, so have they. When my mom has definitely grown a lot of patience too, so that's not that she didn't have any before. She's just like a lot more patient than
yeah,
because she's had. I mean, we've all had to kind of figure out how to be more patient with them, especially like I mean, like obviously, like with my mom, my stepdad, like those are their kids, so they're gonna be more patient with them. But like me, I was like I'd be like, oh my gosh, like just stop screaming. Like I couldn't. I used to not be able to handle it whatsoever, but now it's definitely easier, and I help them calm down. And my mom has always really known like what to do, so she balances everything super well.
that's cool. I've always had the utmost respect for parents on this journey. I taught special day class, moderate to severe, for 5 years. I mean, Jameson would have been in my class. Mostly, I had nonverbal kids with autism that were violent, and I loved it. It was so much fun. It was more just like, I'm gonna make it through the day without getting punched. That's my goal for the day. And it was just every day was a new challenge. And just us. And then when we'd string like days and days together without getting punched, or like them punching someone else, like that was exciting. It
Yeah,
was
that's a lot of
the
progress.
most fun. But I always, I mean, I had my students for 6 hours a day, and then I would always see the parents. I mean, this is their life. And I know it's not an easy journey, but from all the parents that I've been in contact with, they definitely grow resilient and learn how to cope and manage all of it. So yeah, that's great. How about, obviously they need a little bit extra attention. How do they balance it with giving you attention as well?
They're actually pretty good at it. Me and my mom, like, it's like sometimes, like, if my mom isn't busy or like I'm not busy, then we'll go out and we'll do things. Like, we went and we looked at the lights in Coeur d'Alene downtown. We
Cool.
went through, we looked at the lights, we did the boardwalk, and like me and my mom do quite a bit, like me and her, whether that be something little like going grocery shopping, which I am not a big grocery shopping person, but if she throws in like Starbucks or getting lunch, oh, there's my brother in the background, so sorry. If she throws in like Starbucks or getting lunch, then I'll be like, okay, fine, I'll go to Costco with you. I hate Costco. I hate it. I don't like Costco. There,
There's a
it's just
lot of people.
yeah, and my mom goes through every single aisle like twice. So we're in there for a couple of hours. But if it's just like little things like grocery shopping or just like lunch, it's still like she isn't like all of her attention is on my brother and sister. Like she distributes it pretty well. And like obviously me being older, I don't require a lot of attention. Like I mean there is like if I mean there's some days where I just like will sit in my room all day long because I'm like tired or whatever it is. So or I just like want to be alone because like I get like that sometimes where I'm just like, hey, leave me alone. Like
Yeah.
let me just like unwind from school and like But I mean, me and my mom do quite a bit together, and like even like if she's taking me to meet my dad, like even that just like the drive because my dad lives 2 hours away,
Oh,
so
okay.
they meet about halfway. So
Yeah.
like even if it's just like the drive for me and my mom, it's still like we spend quite a bit of like quality time together. So it's like she distributes it pretty well.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sure that's not the case for some families, but that's awesome that your mom's able to be intentional about it and figure out how to make it work. See, I mean, from our episode, yeah, she's definitely a superhero with everything that she has poured into it and not sit in the denial, but just like getting after it and finding services and everything that's needed for your brother and sister. What do you, yeah, go ahead.
First, sorry, I feel like at first she was a little bit in denial. I mean, now she like researches things. She makes sure like we're all eating healthy because she looked into foods a lot,
Yeah,
and they're like the things that they put in our foods is not good. I still
it's
eat like I'll still scarf down some taquitos any day. Like it's
right.
like that's just how I am. But like for like I mean like all of us as a family, she tries her very hardest to like make sure we're like getting good foods, and she'll even spend extra money just to get us like good like versions of foods that don't have like all the bad things in them. So like chicken nuggets, for example, like she doesn't get the kind of chicken nuggets that are like essentially bad for us.
Like the dino nuggets? Come on.
But I don't even know what they're called. I love like buffalo wings and stuff like that. And she found like buffalo flavored chicken nuggets, but I don't know. I think it's the breading or something that isn't doesn't have all of the like bad things in it.
Yeah.
But they are so good. Like I mean, like me and my dad used to like tease her, be like, "Oh, are we gonna have cauliflower pizza rolls for dinner tonight?" And my dad still teases her about it. I think it's funny. I think it's really funny. Like I love my mom and I appreciate her effort, but when my dad cracks a joke here and there, it's funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's funny. But she researched into foods a lot, and so she makes sure that like we don't have like I have this wrapper. I have these probiotic yogi things that I had before this.
Oh,
And
yeah, my kids eat those.
they are so good. I love them. And it's like, I mean, there's probiotics in it. There's like no artificial flavors. And they are so good. I'm like, and we have like a huge bag of them. And I'm like, yes. Every time she gets them, I'm like, heck yeah. And she's very, like you said, chasing after like things she could do to help my brother and my sister. So it's like she's been really good about that. And also distributing attention and everything. She's been really good at managing it. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. The foods, the inflammatory foods definitely is big for kids with autism because all that junk, it just fires it up inside them. And there's a lot of research and stuff on that. Or actually having a guest on in 2 weeks who the GAPS diet, big diet that a lot of families use for kids with autism, and she went like 90% on it. So she's going to come on and break it down for us and share all of her successes because, yeah, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah, definitely. Foods are definitely something that, like, I mean, like, obviously, like, for me, like, I'm a teenager. Like, I'm not going to want to eat that all the time. Like, I love my Taco Bell. Like, that is one thing about me. I literally, me and my cousin, we walked in the cold. We dressed super warm. Like, my mom made me wear gloves type warm. Like, we were warm and we walked down to Taco Bell.
In the snow.
And yes, yes, in the snow. In the snow, we walked to Taco Bell. And Taco Bell is literally like favorite. Like, anyone could ask me, like, what do you want for dinner? What do you want to eat? And my immediate reaction will be Taco Bell. That could change. But as of right now, it is Taco Bell.
That's funny.
And my mom is like, she lets me have it. It's not like a all the time thing, but like she lets me have it every now and then. So she's not as strict with me on it than she is with my brother and sister, just because they like they have to, like the anti-inflammatory and just like the gluten too. She is pretty like obviously like she'll, if we're like camping or something or it's the holidays and she'll like kind of splurge a little bit, but then after that she gets them back on like, okay, these are the foods you have to eat, you know what I mean? So, but she's like that with me, but she's also, I think she also understands like I'm a teenager and I'm not gonna want to eat that all the time. Like she knows I need my Taco Bell. So she's pretty good about that too.
Yeah. What's what's some funny stories with you and the siblings?
Well, like I said, throwing a Coke, that was not funny in the moment.
The Coke
The
bottle,
Coca-Cola can at my
the
head,
can. Yeah,
that's,
that would hurt. That would not feel good.
yeah, there was a bump on my head for a little bit after that.
Oh, it actually hit your head.
Yeah, 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 he hit me in the head with that.
What did he do after?
He kind of just like looked at me. Yes, he didn't, obviously he didn't say nothing. I got hit and I was like, I looked at him and he was just looking at me.
He
And I
was
was like,
probably like, "Oh no,
he's like, I'm in trouble.
that just happened."
He's probably like, oh, he's probably like, I did not mean to hit you in the head, but like, there's that. I think, I mean, with my brother, like, he's very, like, he kind of keeps to himself, but like, funny story, I couldn't really, the Coca-Cola can is like the funniest thing to me now.
Yeah.
And like off the top of my head, he's pretty like keep to himself, but there's been like a lot of times where he just gets all like sweet and like lovey with me. I feel like those I have more of those type of stories than necessarily like funny stories.
Uh-huh.
Um and that's kind of like the same with my sister too. I feel like she there was one time she was playing, we had like a like dirt hill, I guess you could say, and she got it like all over her face. And my mom like has a picture of it. It like her whole face was filled in dirt. Like it was just completely like dirty. All of her clothes were dirty. And I thought, that wasn't like necessarily with me, but I just thought that was funny. I was like, did you just like shove your face in the dirt?
Yeah.
Like if she was seriously like covered in it. It was in her hair, on her clothes, all over her face. I was like, I was like, if I sprayed water on you right now, you'd have mud dripping down your face. Like,
Huh?
it was, it was pretty funny to me. I
It's
was
like you
like,
couldn't even do that if you tried.
no, like I don't know what it is. She just loved the dirt, and that's, like I said, I have more like sweet and like, cause like funny things like are, like obviously they're funny, but I feel like it's more like sentimental to me when like they are very like sweet and lovey because they're not always like that. My sister is more than my brother, but like my brother is hardly like ever like that. So like it's like things like that. It's like I try and like keep in my head and I'm like, that was amazing. Like there was one
Yeah.
time, I don't know, I think he was just downstairs watching a show or something, and I went and sat by him and he just like laid down in my lap and I tickled his like I this is like will like tickle like I tickled his arm. I just kind of went like that to his arm, and he like he just was so calm and content. And like my mom, I'm always like, Mom, tickle my back, like tickle my arm, tickle my leg. Like that's always been like a thing, like with me and my family. And so like when I did it to my brother, he just was so content and calm. He was just laying in my lap. I have a picture of it. He was just laying in my lap. He was just watching a show. Like that was crazy to me because I didn't even have to like kind of like force him to give me a hug or anything or like come
Yeah.
near me. He just like did that himself. Like I just sat by him and he just laid in my lap. And I was like, that was insane. Like he's never done that before.
Yeah.
Like that was just like I'll never forget that. Like that was
That's
the
cool.
first time he'd ever like voluntarily just like showed me like physical affection.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. I don't have much like funny stories though cuz it's more sentimental when they're like sweet with me, I guess.
Yeah. 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 What would you want other sisters or brothers to know who have siblings with special needs?
Probably to not let it like affect your life as much. Just like knowing that they are still like they're still humans and be nice to them. Like be nice to them. Don't shut them away. Like do not shut them away. Like they like if you think about it, like kids like without autism, all they want to do is spend time with their older siblings. Like that's how I am still. Like I have an older sister. She'll be 18 in September. Oh, I'm gonna cry now. She'll be 18 in September. Oh, that's so sad. She's about to be an adult. But I mean, like when we were little, that's how I would be. I'd always want to hang out with my big sister. And
Yeah.
so like like I mean, especially with little siblings, like with or without autism, like be nice to your little siblings. Like because like that like they just want to spend time with you, and like they're not trying to like annoy you, like they just want to spend time with you. And especially kids with autism, like try and make an effort more to be around them and try and help them or help out your parents as much as you can. And that even goes to like people with older siblings that have autism, like still
Yeah.
make efforts you know
No, that's cool. That's huge. I think a lot of that'll sit with a lot of siblings for sure, especially being an older sibling. I feel like it could be easy to just kind of go about your life and seemingly think, they're not in tune with me or whatever's going on, but they yeah, most definitely are. They're watching
they always see you.
always. What about parents? What would you want them to know?
Obviously I'm not a parent, but
Yeah.
just from what I've seen with my mom, like don't be scared to ask people for help.
Uh,
Like do your best to figure out what is like I said, this is just from like what I've experienced and seen with my mom. Figure out what is best like for your kids, and whether that's what you think or if you get another opinion, just like try your best to kind of like see what it is like your kid needs from you or from other people, and be patient with them because they don't they understand, but not as much as like we would with like what is wrong and what is not wrong, like knowing the difference from right and wrong. They
yeah.
don't fully understand that, so like be patient with them. Don't like yell at them, things like that. Like it's just like have patience and make like try and make adjustments to have more patience for them, and figure out what it is that they need from you.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Well, we'll end with some closing thoughts. This just came to my mind. Do you have any? I mean, you mentioned you would like to take them to ice cream someday.
Yeah,
Have you thought like any further into the future of like fun things you would do with them or take them?
I definitely have. When I get my license, like I like want to take them to like maybe go to a trampoline park, or even if it's literally just like getting food,
Yeah.
or taking them to a park, or like just going on a drive with them, because like my brother really likes drives,
Okay.
so whether that be like taking him on a drive. But I definitely have thought a lot into the future, because like worst case scenario, something happens to my parents when I'm still like in college, or
Yeah.
something like that, like they could go to like my nana or my papa, or like the like any, or like even like my stepdad's family. But it's like if when they all pass on and my parents pass on, he both of them, well, like both of them, whether they do get to the point where they can be more like individual and like on their own, either way they will both come to me. They will both be in like my care. So that's definitely something I've thought a lot about. But like I was telling my mom, I want when I get out of high school, or well, no, actually, there's this school. It's called K Tech. It's kind of like I wouldn't say like an alternative type of school. It's like we can do a half day. I can do a half day at my high school and then a half day at K Tech. And they have a medical program that I want to do because I want to be an anesthesiologist, which is a
Cool.
lot of schooling, but
Yeah.
a lot of schooling. But I want to do that. And I was telling my mom about it, and I want like obviously being an anesthesiologist, like they make more than a brain surgeon, which I think is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But then I was telling my mom, I was like, I do want like I want to do when I become an anesthesiologist, I want to be one for a children's hospital,
Cool.
because when I had surgery, I freaked out. I was like, I needed my parents, and I couldn't have them in the operation room, obviously, until I fell asleep. And my anesthesiologist like calmed me down. He would not like put me under until I was like calm. He was like, it's gonna be okay. He like kind of like rubbed my forehead a little bit, like as I was like about to pass out. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And after that, that whole situation just made me want to be an anesthesiologist for like kids, like at a children's hospital. So I feel, and I was telling my mom, I was like, obviously it makes a lot of money, but it's not even like for me specifically. It's for like when I have a family, and also for my brother and sister if they still need like extra help when they're older, like whether insurance covers it or not. Because like obviously I don't know what insurance will cover. I still kind of don't, but like especially in the future, I want to be able to give them everything that they need once
Wow.
they come into my care. Like I want to be able to, if my brother or my sister stops to do therapy and insurance stops covering it, I want to be able to pay for that like out of pocket if I have to. So that was like kind of one of the biggest decisions, like, because I have my heart completely set on being an anesthesiologist, and I have for the past 2 years since I had surgery. So that's like, I know that's what I want to do. So that's definitely something that I'm like very adamant on, is like being able to not only take care of my future family, but my siblings as well.
Man, you're crushing it. Your mom wasn't joking. She's when she told me you would come on. I'm like, yeah, why not? And she's like, oh, she's amazing. It's gonna be great. I mean, when I was 14, I think all I thought about was surfing. Definitely wasn't thinking about being an anesthesiologist and taking care of my siblings. So that you're crushing it. Way to go.
Yeah, I try.
Well, shoot, it's been awesome having you on. Do you have anything else you'd like to share, or any closing thoughts? I mean, you've dropped a ton of wisdom for a freshman. Just your mindset around, supporting your brother and sister, and even your goals of making a means to be able to support them. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. And just your outlook on autism in general and kids with autism, and sticking up for your siblings. That's cool. And I mean, you have such a powerful voice too on campus when you see that, because I mean, you live it, and then also you can help change some mindsets also. And I would imagine, those kids that bully them, whatever, if
If
they just hung out in a class for a day of their thoughts towards special needs would change. I think they.
I'm so sorry about my dogs.
Oh, it's fine. That would probably be good for. I don't know. It's probably not politically correct. I don't know, but like having bullies serve or help out in special needs class.
I honestly, I mean, I feel like that's. Hi, baby. I feel like that would be a pretty good idea. I feel like it would definitely change
Yeah,
their like view on them. You know,
totally. And it would help themselves to get out of their heads. Like get humble them a little bit.
100%, 100%. Because I mean, kids who make fun of other kids, whether oh gosh, whether they have special needs or not, they definitely need to be humbled. Um, and they need to realize that it's like they, whether kids have autism or not, everybody is like they're still human.
Yeah,
Like that's like the one thing that I will always stand by, is like it doesn't matter if they have autism or not. Bullying is not okay, and
yeah,
I will stand by that forever. Not only that, but I mean obviously bullying is not okay whatsoever, but I feel like when I see a kid with special needs, whether it be autism or anything else, get bullied, it breaks my heart in a different way
yeah,
than I would than it would like seeing like a kid without disabilities. And that sounds bad. It sounds bad, but I swear it is not like that. Like
yeah,
I obviously like I have sympathy for any kid that gets bullied, and I will always be the person that will say something about it. Like I don't care if I get in trouble at school, and I promise I'm not a bad kid. Like I don't get suspended every other week. It's
right.
just like the way like I am, as if like I will always be a person that will stand up to someone that is being bullied.
Yeah.
I always will. Like, and it just like, I don't know, especially kids with like autism or any other like special need. It's like I'm either gonna cry or I'm gonna scream at you right now because
Right.
why are you doing that? Like,
Right.
it's so sad. I cry all the time, but I'll always be the type of person to say something or stand up to someone who's being or who's like being a bully.
Yeah. Well, we need more of you on campuses for sure, spreading the awareness and the good vibes. Well, thank you so much for being on and sharing your insights. And I know you dropped a lot of good stuff that'll impact a lot of people. And the biggest thing that you said a few times that we firmly believe at UNspecial is that every individual is human, and we believe that every kid with special needs was born for a purpose, with a purpose, and has a purpose. And so I think through that lens, we can do some damage and change in mindsets and just valuing our friends with autism.
100%. I feel like the more people understand that it's like it doesn't matter if they have autism or if they're a normal kid, everybody is still human.
Yep.
And like I said, that's something that I'll always stand by. But it's just like I feel like more people need to realize that. And like especially like kids, like I mean, even people who are younger than me and older than me, I feel like I'm more like mature about it because I live it every single day. So I feel like I'm definitely more like mature in that aspect, but it's also like seeing people my age or like older than me like saying bad things about kids with special needs or whether it be anything like that. I'm like they're human. Like they
Yep.
are not any less human than me or you. Like
Yeah.
what's the point in saying anything? Like honestly.
Right. There's a common phrase in special ed: ABC, antecedent behavior consequence. And what's happening before behavior, what is the behavior, and then what is the consequence you're going to give the student because of the behavior. And I always argued with all the behavior specialists on this because I said this makes every student feel like a project. So how about we just say always be curious, and instead of jumping straight to a consequence and throwing all the therapies and behavior modifications you're teaching me, Adam, why don't we just get curious with their behavior? And then I remember I told one of the specialists, I said, we're going to rephrase all this to always be curious, make your child feel human again. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, all right, I got to her. That's great. She's going to remember
That's how
this.
it should be.
Yeah.
100%. It should just be like they're not. She's standing like right by the office. She's just playing on her tablet. I feel like that's just kind of how. I mean, obviously, you can't change everyone's like outlook on things, but I definitely feel like the more people realize like they're just as human as any one of us, I feel like that's where it'll definitely change more people's perspectives on it.
Cool. All right. Good talk. We'll see you.
Okay.